Hi, my name is Carolan, and my evaluation C presentation is about the topic of form, function, and design structures within the grade 7 curriculum. All right, so as I just mentioned, it is about form, function, design, and structures for grade 7. We are tackling the socioeconomic and environmental theme of urban planning. My goal with this lesson is to observe, demonstrate, and apply knowledge regarding the grade 7 science stream of form, function, and design. The main application of this knowledge is classified as the understanding and demonstration of environment, social, and economic factors that should be considered when creating and building structures in all service of a community. So I will be discussing various topics throughout this lesson, this unit, and framing it through the transdisciplinary framework. This is where students will learn about issues of urban planning and crafting a project regarding a cross-curricular approach to cover subjects such as science, art, social studies, and language. I will also be using the STSE, the Science, Technology, Society, Environmental Education Theoretical Framework, as our final project that students will be working on will apply to all these distinct subjects in a project that will have students create or fix a small city, within groups. This is a way to understand social issues, tackling something specific regarding the city they're creating, and so on. This I will be discussing later on, though. But we will be doing this with the goal of specific learning expectations relating to interactions in the environment. In the grade 7 science education stream, while also relating to previous lessons on racism and social inequality within Canada, looking at the historical context learned throughout grade 7, such as application, changes, and challenges. Okay, so now I'll be walking you through the unit planning scope and sequence template. So lesson 1 will be regarding introduction to structures. So this is identifying different types of structures such as shell, solid, and frame structures. We're going to be discussing different purposes of these structures, kind of tying into that urban planning central topic. And then we will be having a group discussion, obviously, throughout, and a diagnostic assessment where they'll be taking a picture of a structure around their city and describing why it is important. Lesson 2 will be about gravity and how gravity can impact structures and structural design. We'll be conducting this activity on gravity mainly through this activity, which is Jenga, and then also having an experiment where students will be measuring how long they're able to stand on one foot, having an observation chart which they will be filling out and presenting to the class. Lesson 3 will be about force and load. So we'll be examining the 4 main factors of force and load, being magnitude, direction, point of application, and plane of application. We're going to be discussing a lot of external factors of force that are taken into consideration for creating structures. We're linking this a lot to environments, urban planning, knowing what climate you're in, etc. And we're going to be having an activity where students are creating structures out of marshmallow and toothpicks, where we will test how their structural integrity by shaking desks, pointing a fan at them, putting some pressure on them, etc. Lesson 4 will be about materials and structures, why certain materials are used, and the reasons for. We're going to have a big discussion, especially on environmental friendliness, again, within this unit, looking at recyclable materials and reusable materials. And then our assignment for this, students will choose an object in class and do research into why certain materials chosen for that object, how it is essential, why it works, and what it would look like if a different material is chosen. So say if you have a book instead of paper, you're to use plastic, what that would kind of entail, and why that might not work. Lesson 5 is about why structures fail and safety. So we're going to focus mainly on the safety aspect, evaluating how a structure is safe. I'm going to take them through terms such as overloading, poor design, poor construction, natural forces. We're also going to tie a lot into urban planning, discussing why certain areas don't have the same access to resources, which can sometimes create unsafe environments, and the reasons for this and stuff. And then we're going to have a discussion where students will be given a picture of different structures and discussing why potentially might not be safe, and issues regarding how it got that way. Lesson 6 will be about shape and structures, conventions of why shapes are used, relating lots of symmetry, so bilateral symmetry and radial symmetry. Students will then be given the task in small groups to create boats out of materials provided and test how many pennies they're able to hold in a boat before sinking, kind of showing a lot of real world kind of application to what we just learned. And then finally, our lesson 7 will be our final project introduction. We're going to having a big summary kind of discussion on the whole unit and what we learned so far, a bit of a recap for them, looking at different structures in North America, different urban planning issues within the world as well, kind of discussing how they are this way, what we can do to counteract them, something that it relates heavily into our final project, which will be the creation of a diorama within small groups. They'll be creating a city, creating structures within the city, and presenting them to the class. They're going to be making a map with reasonings on why they're creating their city this way, what materials they will be using, etc. We're going to be tying this into science and technology, language, social studies, and the arts as a transdisciplinary assignment covering all of those different subjects within one assignment, kind of an all-encompassing thing for the class. And then we also will be using the STSE framework to connect social and culture and critical responsibility with that urban planning kind of lens that we discussed, having them create decisions that are responsible, environmentally friendly, equitable, and socially progressive within their city and at positive ways of impacting and helping their community. Here's just a brief overview of what the schedule will be looking like over the next 4 weeks for this assignment. So week 1 is going to cover the first 3 lessons, week 2, the 4th and 5th, week 3 is the 6th and 7th, and then week 4 is going to be a lot of work periods just regarding to finally finishing these big projects and then presenting them. In terms of modifications and accommodations, something that I really wanted to emphasize was the use of applications such as Minecraft, which is a great fun game for students to use that allows them to build and to create things within this virtual game. This is mainly to apply to students who potentially have motor issues or ADHD, allowing them to kind of calm down and really kind of center themselves, giving them the chance to participate in a way that speaks to them best. Modifications will just include a more manageable workload, kind of striking down some of the expectations and cutting smaller minutia questions, centering more so just on the main focus of urban planning. The assessment for an evaluation, so assessment for learning, will be handled through the diagnostic assessments and discussions done pretty much at the start of every class. I'm going to be taking note of who's speaking and engaging with the lessons and so on. Then assessment of learning will be conducted through small discussion posts and assignments to engage the material. So stuff like the boats and the Jenga, the observations, different stuff like that will be used. And then finally, assessment for learning will obviously be regarding the final project and the creation of this city. Personalization, ways to personalize this assignment would be through adding different games or so that you might be into as the instructor. For example, for myself, I really love Jenga, so I really wanted to incorporate that into this lesson. And then finally, anticipated challenges. While this unit is fairly straightforward, I do expect some challenges regarding behavioral issues, so making sure students are on task. So I'll be creating groups myself for the most part that students will be working in, and then also the issue of the social studies curriculum for this grade, for grade 7, being more around historical periods of 1800, 1850, so kind of shifting that and shifting the focus a touch to relate more into the urban planning and issues that we will be discussing throughout this assignment.